Davis in play. And needs one off the break. And as we've been saying, this is a very grudging system, this. Tight rack. Also the box system of playing out the narrow box, not the full line, means that one is a good lead. We get one down. He hasn't. And the yellow one is begging. So to remind you of the rules, if you haven't been watching 9 ball, you have to hit the low ball, in this case the 1. You then proceed through the colours to the 9. But if at any time you see a plant or a cannon possible from the low ball to the 9, you can win the rack. This semi-final is race to 7 racks.
We've got 2 world champions here from different disciplines. What does Reyes think of Davison?
Very hard to say because he don't speak much the English, Efren. But I do know that him and Steve Davis at the recent World Championships played some 8 ball together. And I think Efren has definitely got medals as a snooker player in the Asian Games. So I'll get the feeling that both him and Bustamante rate Davis, particularly Steve's control of the white, which for once has deserted Efren, to the amusement of the Polish crowd. Bank. Oh, and that's why his bank manager likes him. The people here from the Philippine Embassy. Well, he's a national hero, this lad. He's got the Legion d'Honneur of the Philippines and a much respected member of the community. And now proceeds the Pink 4. The world champion. 96 players came to Cardiff in the middle of 99 in the sun, and 37 of them wrote on their biogs favourite player, Efren Reyes. You could see a little epitome of why over the next hour.
Well, this could be a bit special. Loads of side on that cue was so difficult playing into that centre pocket. Ignored the corner.
And how about way left in 9?
Oh, superb. Now this could all be over in 2 shots.
Could be over in 1. If he decides he can construct another angle to pot, I wouldn't be surprised if he knows geometrically how to get this white to the 9. He doesn't need to.
Here we go then, so.
But he knows how to get the 6 to the 9.
Actually, this is missable. This is not a gimme.
Except all he's got to do is err on the inside, because he can make a mess of this and still pot it off the cush. I'm talking about Efren Reyes! Genius at work here! Filipino Embassy folks, pretty chuffed too. Race to 7.
How's the world snooker champion, former world snooker champion Davis going to handle Efren Reyes today? He was in control in the match they played at the round robin stages. He led 5-1. The only time I have seen Reyes on the racks showing emotion, looking frustrated. Davis had him, but he let him off the hook. He's going to have to get in front early today. He's going to have to put the pressure back on him because Efren Reyes is a great front runner.
Yes, Davis had a Efren looking like that Hippocratic snake crawling up the doctor's stick. He twisted and turned. He normally just sits there like a man who's got a free ticket at Wimbledon and then picks up the stick and does it. Davis got through to Efren and should have beat him. That was in the round robin. Efren can smell the pretty green. Over £7,000 to the winner of this. Jim Remby, the holder's already in the final.
Batteries off the break. I wonder how the pool players perceive Davis, the snooker player, as in, do they think he's got other tricks up his sleeve that they haven't got?
I think they are amazed that he can go for the heart of the pocket. But the problem is that you don't always go for the heart of the pocket at this. But I have seen them absolutely bewildered by his control of the white. He uses different size art. He uses the 12mm. The balls are bigger, and the cloth is like ice. But I've seen the greats like Strickland and Nick Varner say this man's control of the white ball is sensational. He's learning, you see. 2 years ago, he would have actually gone for the heart of the pocket. He's learning when not to go for the middle of the pocket.
I suppose we'll never know, but it'd be interesting to find out whether the cue and the tip size would make a difference.
Oh, beautifully worked to take the orange top left. It's very hard though, after you become the maestro that he is, to debrief yourself about perfect position.
It's virtually impossible. As I'm watching this, I'm thinking you played the cue ball just behind the brown, or, you know, when I'm watching the pool players, they don't. I think straight away poor position, but it's not. It's perfect position. It just takes some getting used to. Look at Davis. This has been perfect position.
Yeah. One apiece in the semi-final. Sportsman, could you name a world class who could adapt to become world class in another sport? There is a world of difference between 9-ball pool and the world of snooker. But wherever you go all over the world, each arena is a crucible of tension, drama, a test of technique. Steve Davis, 6 times world snooker champion. Picked to be mentioned in the same breath now as Rempe and Efren Reyes, who is taking on here in this final, which race to 7. Davis meticulously, grindingly, almost obsessively has adapted his skills to become Romford Slim in honour of Minnesota fans. But he's playing the magician. Mark might need to cast more than one spell.
The magician Efren Reyes is a strong favourite, but Davis is capable. Davis can beat him. I think he's going to need to believe he can beat him. He's going to need to be on his guard, especially when it comes to safety. I don't think I'm worried about Davis's potting or his positional play. No problems whatsoever, but the tactical side of this game.
And also, good point, there's an extension of the point. If you lay crafty snookers against this bloke, he will pot his way out of them. Him and Francisco Bustamante, also from the Philippines, are the greatest players ever known to pot their way out of shots that most men would only think if touch was the best bet.
He was trying then. He wasn't too sure exactly what was going to happen, but I can assure you he was trying to pot a ball then. He hit that yellow as hard as possible, hoping he'd get a fluke.
Well, there is, if the bases are loaded, right? If there are gimme balls elsewhere, remember, contact the low ball, and if the other balls go in, you're still in play. Can't see Davis missing here.
No, you're right. So it's going to be very, very important that Davis does take his chances, though.
Crowd and wrapped. They brought rosary beads, all sorts, Filipino flags, people here from the Philippine embassy. Hey! Snooker players ever get embassy people in their matches? Be on the tour, Mark? Give me an answer.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Not the political kind, anyway. Not sure. Oh, I think that passes. Top left.
No problem.
They used to be hooked on classics here in Warsaw. Now they're hooked on pool, which rhymes with cool, and you don't learn in school. yet. Swedish kids are learning maths with arts. I reckon it's a good way of teaching kids the basics of physics, this. Even a bit of geometry. There's no record of Euclid ever having played.
I don't think the kids would argue, would they, Sid? Okay, class, down your local pool hall this afternoon. I think they take that every time. It's packed house here at the NOT Theatre. Been a great response.
Don't know about getting them into the pool hall. When I was 14, you couldn't get me out. Cheat the register for me, pal. Anyway, Davis going about his business here, looking good. The lead in this semi-final. This a little awkward. Less than half ball contact wanted. Oh, said it.
Trying to cheat too much of the pocket. He played a poor brown to black. Didn't get enough screw into the cue ball. Also played a more difficult black, just caught that knuckle.
But also, that is an alien shot to him, that skid shot. That drag.
Yeah.
So, almost a lesson he thought he'd learned, just misapplied. Davis, good at this game, learning all the time. One slip, and the magician's in with a wand as sharp as a rapier. 2-1 Reyes.
Well, Steve, I think you know you can't afford to do that against Reyes. He's one of those players, he's got such an aura about him that it's probably worth a couple of racks before you even start.
Oh, we saw Rempe was already in the final, coming from this exact spot. And although he flings the cue about and wobbles it round in normal play, at the break, you notice Efren chucks it in on a very straight line. And as he looking in shape, let's get the white exactly in the middle, but the brown, the cut looks super thin. Nice. Safety.
Well, this could go. This could go if he can cheat enough of the pocket. He's got an angle to come back down for the blue too, and with that black 8 over the corner, this is a chance. A slim one.
Got to travel to get a clear line blue 2 to black after this. Oh, didn't want that. Needed more left-hand side. Should have taken the ball around 2 cushions to get a shot at the blue.
Once again, there's another example of how Steve finds it very difficult to try and cheat the pocket. Getter was straight into the heart of the pocket. Now, if he could have cheated the pocket a little, he would have had the angle to get onto that blue, but because snooker's programmed it into him that he has to hit centre pocket every time, it's a very difficult habit to get out of. Well played, Steve.
Get out of. Brilliant stuff. Look at the swerve, deliberately imparted to the ball. The intermediate shot into black.
Well, he's looked the better of the 2 players so far, Davis.
This is true, but Efren Reyes from minute to minute. It's like to say the sea's green, the sea's blue, the sea's white. You never know which patch of Efren will emerge. And he could do without gifting him shots like this.
Oh, I wonder whether he wants this one too badly. Risky shot to play, Efren. He's just checking that again. He's He set exactly where he intended for that cue ball to land. He mishit it. That was far too near to the centre pocket.
But he'd bagged on his massive armoury of shots, and particularly the imagination. This man doesn't play the game with a stick. This man has got things going on in his head. Just like Leonardo da Vinci had on the set. What on earth are you trying to draw? Look at that. As perfect a safety as you could have got in the position.
I'd hit this one hard, Steve. Hit this one as hard as possible and hope.
Double kiss. And it didn't set it up for Efren. Semi-final here in Poland. He was doing his best, and in a way looking more efficient.
He's missed 2 bad pots. He missed that pink 4 in this rack, and in the previous rack, well, disastrous for him missing the black 8.
Well, I think he's thinking about the thinnest of possible tickles on the green. No, he's not. I thought he might try an each way bet. He tried the intermediate shot. He did try a very imaginative shot. Green to brown to right. And what he's now left is not at all tasty for Davis. Any contact, apart from a perfect one, will lead the way for Reyes to step in. Is it going to be leave the white where the green 6 is? Behind the brown, maybe?
Well, that would be some shot to play. That would be such a difficult shot
Can't
to
see
play.
another one?
I mean, ideally, he'd like to just clip off the green, put the green in behind the brown. The only trouble is that if he misses it, because he obviously got air on the fine side, if he misses it, ball in hand, back over. But if he could get it, well, Efren would be in all sorts of trouble.
Steve Davis fan there, that lassie. And every session supporting him. And I think he's going for what you suggested, Mark. He's going to try and goose feather the green and take the white way. Mark's applauding on the back of the seat.
I thought it was a great shot. A great shot, the best he could have done in that situation. We have seen Efren bank these, but at this stage of the game, risky shot to play.
Now, given the distance between the balls to the bottom right, I think he's going to try a bank. And you see it straightens out. One chance with the bank. The angles with the spin will cancel themselves out. And that's a plug.
Yep. He's had some luck. I suppose he played the attacking shot, so he put the luck in his favour.
Can he get a direct hit? Extreme right. The brown? I thought there was maybe a path through past the brown without hitting the inside edge.
Another one of those, Sid. Hit it hard. Yeah, you try and be careful. You try and play a shot off of 2 cushions and judge the green, so you put it on that top cushion and you get it wrong and you're bound to leave it up, so you may as well just hit it hard and hope that it lands in a safe place. You never know, you might have got one.
Well, I don't quite understand this one. Top cushion first or the side?
Top cushion, side cushion.
Pick up.
Unlucky.
Great shot. Another inch. and he would have hooked him. And the brown.
It's very rare for me to see Steve Davis when making the mistakes and his opponent just coming to the table and picking them off, but that's the case so far.
Well, he is the best player in the world. He has been stunning, taking money off the Americans in big chunks since 1983. He is El Machico. Efren Reyes goes 3-1 up in this race to 7. Semi-final to the world number 1, Efren Reyes, the world champion. It's a race to 7.
He just holds his hands up in disbelief. He got some good movement on the 9 ball. That yellow one went into the corner of the right hand pocket but didn't drop. He actually only kicked it forward a couple of inches.
Brilliant break by Davis. Power and control. But here's main man on any street from Manitoba to Manila, from Manchester to anywhere you like. The main man in pool, the man they call the magician, Efren Reyes, the world champion. Got to be favourite to this kind of pool as well. Up to now in the round robin we've been playing alternate break. This is winner breaks. And in the World Championship he reeled off 7 to beat former world champion Ralph Suke in one game. And look at that for control.
He was willing to spin on that white to take, bending his knees, hoping that will make a difference. Nicely situated now.
His eyes are nearly a foot above the strike zone. No chin to the cue man, him. At the age of 9, when his uncle's pool hall in Mexico, Pampanga, Philippines, bit on a crate. Just watched and watched and watched. Turned some kids into Wordsworth, it turned some kids into Holbein, and some kids into Shakespeare. He turns other kids into maestros of the Bluebeard. Look and listen, practice, and world great.
Yeah, it's going to be disappointed to play the poor position shot onto that orange 5. He was looking to play the intermediate onto the black 8. Could have run out there. A let off for Davis. Not much of a let off, mind you.
Jim Remby, King James, holder of 89 top World Tour titles. 11 of them World Championship titles. Various forms of pool. Is already in the final. And Davis doing his best. And knowing him quite well, Davis, although he's being dished out some pain by Reyes, he's been relishing every second of this encounter. Any option that isn't obvious here?
Well, obviously looking to try and disturb that 9 ball at the same time, try and get some movement into it, but I can't see if he's going to be able to kick that across, so well played, well played. That's when Davis comes into his own. I just like the difference in the way they play. You've got Davis, who's robotic in as much that, you know, everything is exactly the same. And you got Efren Reyes. Well, a lot of the time I always think that Efren's not too sure what he's going to do when he comes to the table.
No, he doesn't. No, I don't think he's a thinker. I think Efren has got a totally synthetic picture memory of the last time he saw somebody. It's an amazing amalgam of his own talent and being able to use a shot that he saw somebody else play.
See, like Steve has polished everything from the way he walks, the way he chalks his cue, It's preparation before a shot. Even the way he sat at the chair, he's trying to give off no body language whatsoever. They used to call him the Iceman, no emotion. So he'd sit there, back straight, looking dead ahead. You see Efren, he just sort of leans forward, looks around the crowd, doesn't really care what's going on.
Yep. Well, it's certainly like chess between the ears now. I don't understand why he doesn't play the orange to an intermediate ball either way.
I think he's worried. I think he's worried about whether he's playing the right shot because he knows that Reyes is sat in the chair. He's questioning himself. Thinking, have I missed something here? Is that good enough?
Well, probably for me, but I think it may be using intermediate to brown, intermediate to black. He's going, I think, for the bank. Crowd absolutely tense on this semi-final. Whirlpool League. Now it's cutthroat latter stages. This for a place in the final against Jim Rempe. I think Efren thinks there is a 2-cushion bank here. That's what he's after. No. I think against some opponents he would have tried a 2-cushion bank there.
Yeah, he could be right, Sid. Steve acknowledging that shot from Efren, he thought it was a good one.
I don't think there is room for Steve to try a bank middle left. Well, what I think you might be looking at, although this might be total pie in the sky, is the simultaneous contact orange to black, send the black onto the 9, send the 9 left. Possible. See, simultaneous contact allowed at this, so if he hits the black at exactly the same time as he hits the orange, just watch the line the black takes. Actually, it wasn't that sophisticated. I think that was an attempt to bank the orange. Middle left.
Good chance now for Efren.
Got the crowd absolutely tenterhook this. And ominous alignment of the black and the 9.
No, maybe that's Steve's only chance. That may be his saving grace. He might even try and disturb them. He has. But he was playing.
Or the each way bet of the plant.
Because
Yeah? He had in mind either disturbance or this plant.
this is a difficult plan.
But actually
Really has
compromise to work the sort of each way bet. It's very difficult, but it was, I think it was part of the equation in his head. So he's going to drive into the black. Genius at work. A 50-50 shot. He took it right of the black. Then he did the plant. 4-2, the world champion leads. Well, you must excuse me and Mark Johnson Allen, folks, but it is like two pilots flying in fog over mountains. Try to keep tabs on Efren Reyes.
Efren Reyes to break, winning by 4 runs to 2.
Oh, he's moving the cue ball across the line.
Why?
He's obviously not happy with his break. Watch the 9 ball, centre ball of the diamond. No, he really upped the pace. That's surprising from Efren. That's not like him. He was giving that the kitchen sinks in.
I think it's a great compliment to Davis that for a lot of people's money, one of the greatest players ever, certainly the world champion, would decide on a rash gambler's tactic. Why not, when you're 4-2 up and it's a race to 7, not just play that from exactly the same place? I think he tried to throw down the gauntlet to Steve, say, well, I've got you running, now I'm going to cripple you. It was a bit of flash, a bit of psychology, and at the moment it hasn't come off.
Totally agree with you. I like it. I think that'll please Davis. You know, I don't think they can work Davis out yet. I don't think... Davis doesn't play a straightforward pool game. He's got a bit of everything. I still think they look at that technique and think, oh, that looks good. This man looks like he knows what he's doing. We've seen it before when they played in the round robin stage. Davis had him under it.
Well, and also Echo and Howley, and occasionally Rotaire in this, tried to get greedy with the pack. That's for the first time Efren's tried to get greedy from the break. Well, my wife said, told her I was going to hold him for a few days. She said, take your long john, Sydney, you're not getting any younger. Where I'm going, maybe -5 outside. It's going to be very warm on the table. Jim Rempe's in the final. 1 minute, Efren Reyes looking to book his place.
Sweet shot from Reyes. Intended. I don't think he's worked Davis out. I really don't.
But in a way, nobody knows in the world what Efren Reyes is capable of, including Efren Reyes. He's like a volcano that you think maybe packed it in, and then you'll find another spurt. It's because he's a great copier, an amalgam of all the shots he's seen since he was 9. Forget your silicone pelican chip or whatever. In that guy's head is every experience of spheroids he's had since he was 9. I'm so excited, they're kicking over the ashtrays. Brilliant shot.
Played it.
That was deliberate.
Yeah. Davis left the table pleased with the shot he played. Little did he know that Efren Reyes came to the table thinking, great chance here for me.
He means this to go in off the pink. He meant every millimetre of that track. Long, short, cut or thrust. If the Three Musketeers had been recruiting, D'Artagnan wouldn't have got a look in. Absolute brilliant work by the world champion.
That was a better shot. He had a lot of check side on that cue ball to hold it for the green 6. There's not a lot in them. Just a couple of percent. It's just looking to attack. He's seen those shots before. I don't think Davis has. Because he hasn't played enough 9-ball, I don't think he's seen the shots.
I totally admit that. His tactics, he sometimes does not understand. But then again, Efren, this is a great money player. Plays as well as he needs to. Folks from the Filipino Embassy happy. Efren Reyes leads 5-2 in this semi-final. against the Belgian when he got out of jail. He might have to do a little bit of getting through bars against the world champion, Efren Reyes. But the younger, there was another Efren Reyes, the man who went to live with his uncle when he was 8 in Manila at the Lucky 13 club, started playing pool, watched all sorts of people, and there's Davis. You know, what can we say about Davis after what he did to the Belgian? He is eager and happy for this free.
Well, Efren Reyes, quick to get his eye in. Great opening pot. Looking at the long 2. Well, if he can just get through to it. It looks like he can, Sid. Very close. That cue ball might have just feathered far enough behind the 9 not to leave this on.
Dead right, Jim. But can he change the track by putting side on, maybe? No.
Just trying to feather it past the pink 4. Not to leave it on for Steve.
And you saw in that shot, Jim, just how fast this cloth is compared to snooker cloth. No nap. It's a race to 9. Efren Reyes, the holder of this title. Won it a year ago in this very hall.
And that was a pool safety that Steve just played. He is taking it in. And a great shot from Davis there. But up against a man who kicks the ball better than anyone alive.
Kick means cushion first.
Look at that. Gets out of those for a living, Sid,
yes.
doesn't he?
Reyes is here. Was a rack boy in the pool hall, and by the time he's 14, no Americans, GIs would play him for as much as $1. He copied the shots, he says, of crazy guys and people who tried wild shots. So his immense natural talent augmented by watching the game and playing from a child.
He's looking right now at the possibility of just getting that cue ball over, hopefully in behind one of those. He doesn't want to go in off. He can only get through to the right edge of the blue as he looks.
Live in Cardiff World Championship. A great match in prospect here. Steve Davis, Efren Reyes.
Well, he's got the 2 safe though, Sid.
Are you absolutely sure? With this bloke? With this bloke?
Yeah, I really can't see Efren attacking from here, mind you. They don't call him the magician for nothing. That's a magic wand in his hand.
Left a shot.
Yeah, but he's played it in such a way, and Davis tapping the table in appreciation. He knows, even in leaving the 2 here, and when I say if, that's a big if, the way Steve's going to be bridging over these 2 balls, he can't get onto the red 3. Hampered bridging right over the 7 and the 8.
Here he goes. It's Jim said. Efren was thinking way ahead of, even if Davis did get this pot, the position on the red's a problem. So Davis also looking for safety and get it. Lapping it up.
I think what's nice about these 2 players is they're going to appreciate each other. He's grabbed his break cue here. I wonder if he's going to play something a little special, possibly jump or masse. Looks like a masse shot here, Sid.
Yep. What? Oh, he missed. The blow. Got the outward part of the curve, but forgot the last part of it.
Strange that he changed cues to play a masse. You'd think you'd have a better tip on your playing cue. Very strange. And just not quite enough curl on that cue ball to contact the 2.
Well, there you go. Bad mistake by the world champ. Won the title 17-8 here against Ho Ping Trang, Chinese Taipei. He won it 17-8. Davis, great chance here then.
The obvious problems, and that's why Steve's going for the 2-9 combination, is the bottom left corner. You see the 7 and the 8. Not easy to get onto the 7. So Steve's going to attack the 2-9 here. Now I can tell you something. See how close he's playing that cue ball up to the 9? I think he saw Mika Immonen play this shot yesterday, where we were commentating on the match, and he saw Mika move that cue ball close. Now watch the 9. Basically, the 2's his cue ball here.
And down it goes! Davis rolling against Reyes. Knowledge picked up by study. Study and more study. But the execution still had to be done. He leads 1-zip.
And how important was it for Steve to get out of the gate in this one? And there's his results. That last match, crucial. He had to win that to go through. And what a nail-biter it was. 7-6 over Mario Lanois from Belgium.
Here we go, as Jim said, he watched Mika play this. Used the blue as his cue ball, in went the 9.
But played the white nice and tight up to the 2.
Second rack.
Basically turning the 2 ball into his cue ball. Breaking off rack number 2.
And Jim breaking into poetry. 2 ball, cue ball. Let's see how his break is. If this gets going, Efren has got trouble. Oh, he's scratching.
Foul.
Cue ball running safe. Got a flick off the blue. The ball in hand of the magician.
Steve left to wonder probably what that in-off will cost. Will it just be this rack, if this rack, or will Reyes string a few together? Just surveying the situation here. He knows he wants to get the left-hand side of the table for the red 3 already. He's figured that out. So it's all about the proper angle on the 2 here, Sid, in potting this 1.
That Filipino-style cue action. It looks rocky. See this, the cue adjusts different parts of the ball, but the final stroke comes through exactly where he wants to hit it. Looks pretty good on the red, Jim.
A little closer to the side cushion for comfort. But he may just have to draw into the 4, or the brown 7 here. Just to the left of the 3 for the 5. He had no choice there. And now he's in trouble. Bridging right over the 6. How does he get from the 5 to the 6? This looks dead straight, or very close to it. A lot of self-proclaimed pool experts in the audience. That's Jay Helfert there, Jay. Poking a little fun. He's right with Karen Core. What about that shot from Efren Reyes? Helfert over the 6. A deep screw. Watch this for cueing.
The magician waves the wand. You see the result.
Well, he won't strike a better ball than that. He's still got a little trouble here, little cause for concern. That 7 isn't in the open. The brown 7 next, should he get this. And look out. Look out.
Makes a mess and
going after the 9, Sid.
Feather on the brown. I just missed the 9. Oh, but he's rolled lucky.
Yeah, Sid. If you think that was lucky, you know what his answer is? The more he practices, the luckier he gets. That was a great shot. Now, how do you fancy this shot for Steve Davis?
Well, he's seeing if there's a shot involving the 9.
I think he's looking at possibly just trying to get the butt of the cue up and kick it from the back end here. Got to slightly swerve that cue ball, you can see. And Steve will be looking for a full contact on that brown 7 here. Very tough, this shot. Not only to hit it, but to get it safe. Would you believe it? He got too much. He can't believe that.
Incredible. How on earth did he get around the back of that without contact?
Can you believe he got too much on that cue ball?
Oh.
The great Mike Massey himself, Tennessee Tarzan, trick shot star, would have been proud of that shot.
And this 9 to level the score lines against Steve Davis here. 1-1 it is. Efren Reyes will be breaking in rack number 2 of a scheduled 17 here in Cardiff.
And showing the kind of form that could win it again. 5-1 up in a race to 9 against Steve Davis.
And still, Reyes breaking with control. And you know, so interesting, just during that short break, Sid, Steve was up out of his chair, walking around. He's been in it for 5 racks. Reyes went and sat down.
He was prowling like an outcast coyote. Because he can't do much else but prowl. He's just praying one suspects that this man makes a mistake while he's playing. Can't see it. Featherweight red.
Didn't want that cue ball on the left cushion, though. Won't be happy about that. Green 6 next. Running through off 2 cushions. He's not missing a thing, Sid.
Absolutely.
Now it looks like his only shot is to force the white off the top cushion back into the center of the table for the brown 7 to the same pocket.
So far he's only made 1 slip. He leads 5-1.
And this isn't straightforward. This has to be cued very sweetly to get that white back to where he wants to. Just off the top cushion here. And try and get the cue ball back into this area. Not bad.
Brown and the back and forth shot parallel with a head string. Executed beautifully. Things looking very, very ominous for SD. Poker face, but I bet his arteries are throbbing.
A little overhit here. Cue ball a little closer to that corner pocket than Efren would have liked comfortably, but this won't be any problem.
That's what the crowd think as well, Jim.
6-1 the last 6 racks in a row. From the snooker that Steve tried to get out of, he hasn't come to the table again. And he hasn't gotten out of his chair, save between breaks, just to loosen up and stretch.
I like how as well last year with ominous ease. He ran 8 consecutive against Suke. He ran 9 consecutive against Bustamante, did Reyes. Now in exactly that kind of fluent form. Winner breaks, so you can spend an awful lot of time in a chair.
All eyes on this match. Rack number 8.
Crowded house here.
Efren Reyes to break,
Full
leading
house
by
at Cardiff,
6
Jim.
racks to 1.
No empty seats here, Sid. A lot of people enjoying this one. What an exhibition of 9-ball Reyes is putting on. Everything working, the balls fanning out. Just look at them, the 2, the 3, the 4, they're all over pockets.
The crowd here loving seeing a hero at the art of spherical science. He is a genius.
Even when he does overhit it, he doesn't overhit it enough to get into trouble. He didn't want to be this close to the 3. Now he's got to either weave a path between those balls or try and pull away from that brown 7. Those are his only 2 choices. It almost looks like he can get that cue ball between the 9 and the orange 5. There you go.
He could thread a needle standing in a force 10 gale on top of the mast.
Now just the right angle it looks like to get down for the orange 5. Well, St. George's flag there. It hasn't been off the floor apart from the walk-in in the first rack, Sid.
Yes. Things looking sad. For
finally a
cross on
mistake.
white. He's gone in off.
A chink in the armor. He's smiling. He's 6-1 in front. But is he human? First indication of it.
That's what he thinks about it. Oh, a very taut grin. It belied the emotion, that grin.
He couldn't find enough body English to keep that cue ball out of the pocket. And this is where Steve now, he can mop up here, bring it back to 6-2, but is he capable of stringing 6 racks together?
Put you on the spot, Jim. Is he capable?
He's got a better chance of picking the numbers for the lottery. 9 down, 6-2 confirmed. And Steve will be breaking off in the 9th round.
They're flying around. Nothing drops there.
So frustrating. Seeing your opponent knock in 6 consecutive racks and you just can't muster up a successful break, and you wonder what's the difference? What's the key? About 30 years of playing 9-ball. Steve's got 30 playing snooker.
How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice.
Reyes keeping the clamps on Davis. He doesn't want to let the lion out of the cage. Top cushion, the only escape here, Sid, a right-hand cushion as we look. But again, the contact on the 1 is one thing. Getting it safe, that's another. Steve won't miss this 1. He'll hit it. Just needs a little bit of running here.
Top cushion. Is this safe? Is anything safe for this man?
Difficult to see him attacking from here. I think this is nothing more than a containing shot. If he can make a good aggressive safety from this position, he'll have played one of his best shots. And the obvious choice is to try and get that one down to the top cushion back right hand side as we look. Or he can run with the white, Sid.
His right hand side. And oh, bit of a mess. Davis could step in.
Yes, I think that was a little thicker than Efren wanted. He's talking to himself there. He's left Steve a shot at the one, but I think he wanted a thinner contact. He was running with the cue ball behind that little wall of balls. Didn't intend bringing the one down so far. But you can see, even though the one is on, the cue ball is going away from the blue two, the next ball on.
Here we go. The comeback trail start here with a one ball.
Steve now will be looking to get that one ball in behind the brown seven, and he can take the cue ball over and try and cannon into the pink four. That'll hold the cue ball in behind the brown seven and get that ball up the bottom end of the table as we look. That's the shot, Sid. Get that white behind the brown seven.
It's behind, and he's weighted the blue two beautifully.
Well, he'd like to have played it a little harder. Just a quick shake of the head, I detect. Steve knows that he should have had Reyes in a lot more trouble than he does. I'm not sure he can't even get through to this two. I think he can.
From the top viewpoint, you're right. Could have done with another foot on the treble. Bobbled.
Well, Steve has to feel like he's a little unlucky not to have carved an opening from Reyes' miss here, but he's looking at the side cushion, the two into the nine.
6-2, the world champ leads.
I think if he plays this, Sid, he's got to go side cushion, bottom cushion. You see the angle he's holding his cue to come in? He's going to go into the side cushion with a little right hand spin as he looks and try and contact that blue two off two cushions. All or nothing.
Well, he needs, I was going to say desperate measures. With him, he needs precise, effective measures. Just watch what happens to the blue and then the nine.
No, he hit it off one cushion. Well, he's fluked the three, but he intended hitting that blue two off two cushions.
Tension echoing in every square foot of this hole. 6-2 and race to 9. Favor of Efren Reyes, the world champion. Davis, with his winner break rule, could string 3 or 4 or more together.
Can just get through to this blue two. Oh, what a shot. Look at the cue ball. Steve willing it in behind the 7. I don't know if it got there.
The 9 is very near the bottom pocket.
Into the center, Sid. He's playing this fine clip into the middle. Didn't cut it enough.
Come on, Steve.
A chance then.
Well, Steve can take this into the top left corner. But he's got to get the cue ball back up the top end of the table for the pink 4 next. Oh, it went into the center pocket, even better.
And his ace landed on the pink. Sorry, bad English. Landed ace on the pink. I don't get a bit excited, but who wouldn't with this kind of match? But you're excited to do them, up you are, wherever you are. Manila, Romford. Points north, south and west of Cardiff. Davis trying to start. A rolling recovery.
This has been the scrappiest rack we've seen.
Scrap's the word. Davis is starting the scrap. Action on the table reflected in the pupils of her eyes.
Steve just making sure, taking time. He's got the right angle on the 6 here. I think what he's concerned, oh, there's Rob McKenna in the crowd. The local hero. He went out in this round, but he had a good event. Played some great stuff here.
Green 6, heart of the pocket.
See, this isn't straightforward, Sid, because I don't know if that 8 passes to the top left corner as we look. Easy to get onto if it does. If it doesn't, not so easy. The way that Steve's played that, he's trying to get right in behind it and get it to the top left corner. Now he may have to try and bank the 8. Now he's got a choice here. He could try and bank this in the bottom right corner, or he could try and bank it into the opposite center pocket and take the cue ball down towards the 9, almost like a two-way shot.
Interesting combined option then.
I'm not sure he fancies either one of them. I don't think, if he tries to double this into the middle or bank it into the opposite middle, I don't think it's on. I don't think the 9 is on. He has to put all his eggs in one basket and go one way or the other here.
Unlucky. Hit the knuckle.
Great effort. I mean, so difficult for a snooker player to come to a 9-footer and try and negotiate how these balls are going to come off the cushions. That was a great effort. Very, very close to going in. And this isn't easy for Reyes. So he made it look easy.
That's our boy. He's known as Recovery Jim. Yep.
Well, that was one that got away from SD there, Sid. And they're applauding Reyes, but Davis had a chance, let it slip, and Reyes now 7-2 up on the nugget. And to book a date with German Ralph Souquet. But what a storyline this man's break has been. Every time he's been at the table breaking off, he doesn't just get a ball on the break. He lands nicely on the next lowest one available. But that's a terrific control of the white there, Sid. Textbook.
Yeah. Yeah, 1, 2. Maybe 3 breaks. You think, look, maybe with 7. Now look, just the work of a maestro, a magician with his wand, a world champion in action. Back and forth shot across the table.
Yeah, I think if he can just get through to the 4 here, only just, I believe he's all right. Oh, look at that gentleman. His mom's jewelry box exploded.
His twin brother stood outside the corner. Efren Reyes, the holder of this title. Stroking. It's a very funny stroke. He sizes up the ball. He can't quite work out where he's going to hit it. But suddenly the final stroke, spot on, parallel with the floor. Unless always a full stroke.
Well, 2 choices here, Sid. Either straight through with a lot of left hand running side, or back, and he's choosing back.
Like a kid with a Christmas yo-yo. It's got the white on a piece of stretchy string.
Doesn't mind being close to the cushion here. Just got to bump this 9 in. And Reyes on the threshold of victory over Steve Davis. He's 8-2 in front. Just one more rack to secure that berth in the last 32. Some performance from the magician here tonight.
And other players will be taking a close interest in how the balls are breaking, how he's getting this very productive break, but also his calm control would send out vibes of terror.
A very complacent stare, but in his mind, already preparing for the last break off from Reyes.
Efren Reyes to break, leading by 8 racks
The
to
only
2.
way that he's going to lose this one is for Steve to string a few together.
This is the break that could set up the victory.
And for the first time, Reyes doesn't land on the 1 or the 2. And he's smiling. Almost expects
a smile.
a successful break, doesn't he? And now looking to possibly push the cue ball out. Choice of areas.
Push.
And a nice little shot there. He doesn't leave anything attacking. And what's more, he doesn't snooker Steve either. But at least Steve gets out of his chair one more time.
The eyes of a predator. You imagine sitting on a balcony saying Clint who? Davis prowls. Prowls is about all he's been allowed to do so far. Trades 8-2. Efren Reyes needs one more rack to do the job.
Steve needs that one to either stop or go harder.
It's in. Crowd here in Cardiff giving Steve Davis every form of encouragement. Oh, beautifully along the rail. Hugged it like a baby with a favorite teddy. Feathered up and immediate. Right on the doorstep. Good position.
Nice angle on the 4, Sid. Get back over the center of the table. The orange 5 will be next. Steve's got to complete a 4-ball clearance here to stave off elimination in this one.
He draws the ball across nicely for the orange. With a nice angle to get position on the green 6. Nails are being gnawed. They want Davis to start a comeback.
They don't want to go home yet, Sid. They want this to go on. This is terrific stuff. And the night is early.
This then to pull back to 8-3.
Confirmation 8-3. Steve still in with a shout. He'll be breaking in rack number 12 in Cardiff here. You've got to admire him. He is a battler. Reyes threw that 6-pack at him, knocking in the 6 racks to erase a 1-0 deficit and turn it into a 6-1 advantage. Since then, they've been volleying shots, Sid. But can Steve put a few together himself and just try and apply a little pressure to the legendary Reyes?
Knows the importance, that sort of
Steve Davis to break, trailing
slight
by 3
pet
racks to
lip.
8.
The furrowed brow. He has to get his break going now. Has to get 1 or 2 down and a shot on the low ball. Could be disaster.
Very likely. And I think Steve almost had a look of resignation. You can see he's giving it everything in the break. He just doesn't have the answer. You've got to fear the worst now for Steve. This man finishes like no human being before him. Well, you could have played that shot better. Intended a little fuller cannon into the 3, and he's shaking his head a little bit. He's not happy with that result. And Corey Duell right there. He just won a nice match over Vegard Christensen. 9-6. He's through to the last 32. Young, talented American.
Pink 4 draws the ball over for the orange 5. Up, almost off the ball with side and bottom, and a mistake at a vital time.
The slip came totally unexpected, but Reyes is going to have to duel a little longer.
Duel or die. Davis weighing it up.
Steve's probably wondering, well, Efren, what were you going to do here if you made the 5? You had the angle on the 6. That's what Steve's concerning himself with right now. He just wants that proper angle on the 6 to take the cue ball up for the brown 7. And with the 5 right over the corner pocket, Sid, never easy to play position from these type of shots.
You could hear a flake of dandruff fall in this hole. The tension, massive. Can Davis get on a roll? 8-3 down. Reyes wants one more rack for the match.
Cue ball's coming right down. He's just got to clear the 8 here. That looks perfect, as long as it didn't run on too far.
Reyes cocks his head over, checking every stroke.
Converts it into a victory. The mistake from Reyes, capitalized on by Steve Davis. Back to 8-4 and still alive.
And here's that mistake in putting so much on the white. He stuck the orange in the jaws, and another tough